time, right? Because that's just the way the world works. So I am going to have to look them up and see if I can find anything new from them. That would be pretty awesome. So here we are, getting into the Christmas season. Oh my gosh, can't even believe it came this fast. Wasn't it just a minute ago that it was Canada Day? That we were all hyped up about the 150th birthday of Canada? And then here we are, end of the year. You gonna do anything different next year? I hope next year is as awesome as this year was, plus a little bit, right? Plus a bit. I'd like to improve a bit, but overall I'm pretty happy and pretty satisfied with the way things have gone. And I'm super excited to say that myself and two couples here in Sarnia are going to be blessing a family over the next couple days. So what we did is I put a shout out that we were looking for families, ideally with children, right? To bless. Last year, myself and a couple here in town that I've known for a long, long time, I should really get their permission to use their name. We went to a random, it was random to them, not to us. We put a lot of planning into it. We blessed two families. The family of 5. I did stockings for the kids. I got the whole dinner for them, for their Christmas dinner. And I put a shout out to the community, and I got them gift certificates. I got them a salt lamp. Oh my goodness, all sorts of stuff. Like there was gifts and all sorts of cool stuff. And then John and April, I can tell you their first names, they were there as well. And the woman who was nominated for her family for me to bless them, unbeknownst to her that she had already made the list, she nominated a young girl who was struggling. So John and April came with me, and they blessed that girl with gifts, Christmas dinner, excuse me, and $450 cash for her rent, which was totally cool. And I'll have to let them know, not sure if they listen to my show or not, but I'll definitely have to let them know that that young girl is doing fantastic. See, sometimes that's all people need. They just need a little reminder that there's good people out there. They just need a little reminder that there are Christmas miracles, right? They need a little reminder that, you know, if you're a good person and you just do the best you can with what you have provided, you know, it might not be great. Sometimes, you know, life really sucks. Sometimes life really isn't fair. It's the reality, but just keep trudging along. Good stuff will come. There will be a glimmer of light, and next thing you know, you'll be flooded with light and abundance and all sorts of good stuff. But you know what? You have to keep being a good person. You have to have integrity. You have to just believe in yourself. I know it sounds like a short list, but it's not so easy to put together. So, super excited. So this year, there was actually another couple step forward and said, you know, I understand that you do this, and they knew John, and da-da-da-da-da. So we are blessing a family, and I'm excited, and we're going to bring the video camera. Awesome, 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 awesome. And just so you know, I bring the video camera not so people message me and say, Michelle, you're so awesome, yada, yada, yada. Because, well, first of all, I already know that I'm awesome. But love yourself first, right? But the other thing is that, excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. The other thing is that I just hope it inspires people to do the same thing. You know, I don't care if you smoke dope or you drink or whatever it is that you do that, you know, makes you feel good or helps you, you know, I don't know, numb life a little bit or you know, whatever. There's no greater buzz than doing something fantastic for somebody like this. And so the couple that I've never done this with before, I was talking to him online, and he's like, well, you know, if we can't make it to actually give her the stuff, you know, we'll just drop it off. And, you know, and I'm like, no, it's not the same. You need to make that human contact. You're going to tear up. We all tear up. I got goosebumps just talking to you about it. We all choke up a little bit because it's just, it doesn't matter. We don't care. We don't care. you know, what neighborhood you live in. We don't care, whatever. You are just humans that are struggling, and we're humans that are helping. Really that simple. Absolutely love it. But you need to be there. You need to be there to see the look on their face, to see the sense of relief, to see the sparkle come back in their eye. Do you know how many people have no sparkle in their eye these days? If I can do anything to help anybody get a sparkle in their eye, oh, I would love to do it. I would give you the shirt off my back to make sure you have a sparkle in your eye, just so you know that. So let's get to the good news, my favorite part of the show. So this is super exciting. And of course, gotta clean my glasses so I can see what the heck I'm looking at. That's always helpful. So, lots of big problems in the world and lots of big solutions in the world. So, I was just saying about getting high. It's a hot topic here in Canada, no pun intended, because we are making marijuana legal, or I don't know, decriminalized, legal, I don't know what the heck, but sick people will be able to get it easier. That's what I'm interested in. So, we're not the first ones to do this. And there is countries that aren't just limited to marijuana either, just saying. So, this is about Norway. Norway started a push to decriminalize drug use this week when the majority of its parliament moved to focus on treatment for addicted drug users instead of punishment. What an awesome idea. The majority of the parliament has asked the government to prepare for reform. A spokesperson for the Norwegian legislature, the Storting, told Newsweek. It has started a political process, he said, but he cautioned that it is just the starting point and that there's no legislation yet. The majority wants to stop punishing people who struggle, but instead give them help and treatment. Nicholas Wilkinson, the SV party's health spokesman in the parliament, told the Norwegian publication VG. He said the effort will focus on treatment and follow-up programs. Members of parliament emphasized that they do not want to legalize drugs, but only to decriminalize. The change will take some time, but that means a changed vision. Those who have a substance abuse problem should be treated as ill and not as criminals with classical sanctions such as fines and imprisonment. Deputy Chairman for the Storting Health Committee told VG. Some members of Parliament are calling it a historic transformation of Norwegian drug policy. They hope to transfer responsibility for drug policy from the criminal justice system to health agencies. It's a big next step for the Scandinavian country, which has been dancing around the possibility of decriminalization for several years. In 2006, it started to test a program that would sentence drug users to treatment programs rather than jail in the cities Bergen and Oslo. In early 2016, the country gave Norwegian courts the option to do this on a national level. The goal is that more addicts will rid themselves of their drug dependency and fewer will return to crime, Justice Minister Anders Anundsen said at the time. But if the terms of the program are violated, the convicts must serve an ordinary prison term. Rightfully so, right? Recently, in March, Norwegian Minister of Health Bent Høie changed his position on the issue of decriminalization, saying that he believed in treatment over punishment, VG reported at the time. But the shift is still not a unanimous one. Some members of parliament still believe decriminalization sends a signal to drug users that the offense is not a serious one. Portugal famously decriminalized all drugs in the year 2001 after harsh punishments for drug users did not improve their drug crisis. And it set the precedence for that approach at the national level. Over 15 years, the country has seen a decline in drug use, and especially in drug-induced deaths. See, and that's the thing, right? Is that people are dying. People are going to jail, and they're learning more about drugs. I hear, there's more dope in jail than there is on the streets. You can get all sorts of stuff because people go in there and they just want to get knocked out, right? They just want to get their time over with. So I totally get that. It would change everything, wouldn't it? It'd be interesting to see. So here's another story, and I'm really interested in seeing if this hits Canada at some point. Boston has joined the ranks of major American cities that are taking steps to curb plastic pollution by banning single-use shopping bags. The Massachusetts City Mayor, Marty Walsh, signed an ordinance on Sunday stating that if a consumer forgets to bring a reusable bag, a store can charge them 5 cents for a stronger plastic, compostable, or paper bag. The legislation, which was unanimously approved the City Council last month, will go into full effect next autumn. Walsh says that in addition to reaping the environmental benefits of banning single-use plastic bags, taxpayers are expected to save a little extra pocket money from city litter cleanup. Before California became the first U.S. state to issue a plastic bag ban in 2014, Los Angeles County, San Francisco, and other Californian communities had already issued plastic bans. Other major cities and regions that have issued similar legislation include Portland, Oregon, and coastal North Carolina. So that's what we do here, actually, is we charge 5 cents for a plastic bag, but the really crappy plastic bags, the ones that they're banning here. And I find it really seems to work. A lot of people seem to bring their own bags, or at different stores where they supply boxes, they use the boxes. Now I have to tell you, I buy the bags. I buy them all the time. And I'll tell you why. Because I do a free clothing drive twice a year, and I need bags for that. So, you know, I'm sure overall when I walk into that clothing drive and I have a bag of bags, probably cost me a fortune, but I need them for that event. So I can't have people get a whole bunch of free clothes and not have bags for them, right? It's just sort of the other thing. So, you know, I buy them, but that's a choice that I make to do that. So this is really a cool story, this last one. You know, we talk all the time about that there's solutions for everything. It's just figuring out how to make it work, right? Figuring out what the solution is that serves the greater good. Very, very, very important. This is a cool story. While some African regions have outlawed child marriage over the course of the last decade, the practice is still prevalent in certain communities. Girls and women who are forced into marriage at a young age are less likely to get an education and much more likely to face negative physical, emotional, health, and social consequences during their adulthood as a result. Thankfully, the New York City-based nonprofit Population Council has developed a groundbreaking program that has reduced child marriage rates in countries like Ethiopia and Tanzania. And the key to these positive results lie in goats and chickens. The Humane Project, first launched in 2004, attempted to discourage the practice by recruiting local community leaders to gather villages together, discuss the negative impacts of child marriage, and ask families how they could educate and support their daughters rather than marrying them off. During these community conversations, many families simply said they could not afford the cost of sending their daughters to school. The Humane Project then took a multi-faced approach to the problem. For starters, families were given money for school supplies, which amounted to about $17 to $22 per year in American, depending on the country. Secondly, some girls were assigned female mentors to keep them engaged and inspired. Excellent idea. Then, for the final approach, families who did not marry off their daughters for at least 2 years were given either chickens or a goat as a reward. Instead of being pressured into accepting dowries from prospective husbands, farm animals created new sources of income and resources for struggling village families. 2 years later, the project showed astonishing results. Families suddenly realized they don't have to carry on with this practice. According to Berthane Hewen's research, girls aged 10 to 14 who were enrolled in the 2-year program were 90% less likely to be married than the girls who were not enrolled. 90%! That's awesome. Annabelle Ehrlich, a social scientist with the Population Council, told NPR, "See, one misperception is that child marriage is an intractable practice. My experience is that communities are quite open to change." Population Council's continuing research with the project even showed that the individual methods of child marriage prevention were still surprisingly effective in communities where girls were only offered 2 chickens for every year they remained unmarried, and in school. Girls ages 15 to 17 were half as likely not to be married. That's still awesome. When girls aged 12 to 14 were only given educational support, they were 94% less likely to be married than girls who were not enrolled in the program. "We haven't studied the long-term impact at this point," they told NPR, "but when we go back to the communities, we do find that it made a lasting change. Families suddenly realize they don't have to carry on with this practice of child marriage." Ehrlich also says that even after the program, local community leaders continued the mission of educating families on the dangers of child marriage. That is absolutely awesome. And see, instead of going and saying, don't do this and you should do this, and, imposing our views on them, they went a roundabout way to help them. So let's look at what's really behind this. And it's money, food, income, right? So let's look at that and provide them with solutions. That is so cool. I love that one. So that's it for your good news today. I hope you enjoyed it. I always enjoy sharing it with you. And there is a lot of positive stuff going on. There's a lot of wonderful things. We just need to look at it and to be able to see it and wean through all the negativity and all the crap that we're surrounded with and get back to the basics, right? Get back to the basics and look at the stuff that's good and the wonderful things that are going on. I was just watching a thing on YouTube this morning, and because we don't have cable, right? So we totally control everything that we're exposed to. And I was just looking at some stuff, and that's what they were saying. Like, they can't believe all the distractions that are on the like CNN and the mass media, and also how they quite often they take what looks like to us a news report, but it's not. It's actually a paid ad from a company. Like, you never know where Shady Eddie is in there, got his angle or whatever's going on. You have to be very wary these days. So I would like to end this good news portion of the show with a poem. If you're my Facebook friend, you may have seen that I shared this on my Facebook page today. So I think this is really good. It's called A Politically Correct Christmas. And it is written by Harvey Ehrlich, Ehrlich. Feel free to look him up at your convenience. Okay, here we go. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and Santa's a wreck. How to live in a world that's politically correct. His workers no longer could answer to elves. Vertically challenged, they were calling themselves. And labor conditions at the North Pole were alleged by the union to stifle the soul. For reindeer had vanished without much propriety, released to the wilds by the Humane Society. And equal employment had made it quite clear that Santa had better not use just reindeer. So Dancer and Donner, Comet and Cupid were replaced with 4 pigs. And that looks stupid. The runners had been removed from his sleigh. The ruts were termed dangerous by the E.P.A. And people had started to call for the cops when they heard sled noises on their rooftops. Secondhand smoke from his pipe had his workers quite frightened. His fur-trimmed red suit was called unenlightened. And to show you the strangeness of life's ebbs and flows, Rudolph was suing over unauthorized use of his nose, and had gone to Geraldo in front of the nation, demanding millions in overdue compensation. So half of the reindeer were gone, and his wife, who suddenly said she'd enough of this life, joined a self-help group, packed and left in a whiz, demanding from now on that her title was Miss